actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Shut up, just shut up, shut up, shut up, just shut up, shut up, shut up, just shut up, shut up, shut it up, just shut up, shut up, shut up, just shut up, shut up, shut up, just shut up, shut up.
I can't believe we're here. We made it. How did that happen? We both ran into the same incident on the 101.
I think we did the show in the car, though, because we talked the whole way
We
here.
did. We talked the whole way
We
here.
have nothing to say to each other now.
Shut it down. We're all good.
I haven't said shut up to you in so long.
I know, but go ahead, because I know it's going to come.
I'll wait 5 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. But
all right, we're sort of here.
We're sort of here. We have our guests already on the phone. We can sort of banter and chit-chat later, right? So, Lisa, are you there?
I don't think she is. She was.
Did she go away?
I don't blame her.
I'm gonna get her on.
This
You're
is
gonna
your
get her
friend, and she hung up on you. Okay.
She hung
so,
up on
all
me.
right, you started to tell me on the way here the one story you didn't tell me.
Oh, what's going on?
I'm calling her.
Okay.
Hello, Lisa.
This is
Was
live.
you got some sort of moving violation? You're, I don't know.
Oh, God, I'm actually
You're
afraid.
going to jail or
I'm
something?
I'm truly afraid. I got a moving violation. Listen to this one. Because the cop said, the officer said that the light turned green and I turned too quickly, made a left too quickly. I said, that's interesting. I've never heard of that. He said, well, didn't you see the pedestrian in the crossway?
Oh,
I
you
said,
ran someone
"No,
over.
no."
That's different.
No. I said, I did. However, she was on the curb and she was on the sidewalk. She was not in the crosswalk.
So you
I said,
didn't actually
I really saw her, this person.
hit the woman.
I
Okay,
didn't hit her, almost. But unless I went up on the sidewalk, I would have hit her. She was not in the crosswalk.
I can do traffic school for you. I've done it 8 million
I
times.
will pay anything. I offered it already to two friends, but they wanted
Make
too
your
much
kid
money.
do it. I think
No, but
that's
it's
what I
worse.
normally do.
I already have 3 points. So how many points do you get until your license is taken away?
I don't think you can ever drive again. And here you were going to drive to Coachella.
No, but all these silly reasons why I have points, and I'll get into that one later. But is Lisa on the line?
Please don't.
Okay, Lisa, how are you? And I guess you're never going to be driving with me, are you?
No, thank you.
Oh, Lisa, I'm so
I'm a
happy.
little reluctant now.
But no, I'm telling you, this is not my fault. I'm actually going to fight that one.
It is her fault, Lisa. Anyway, hi, nice to meet you.
This is Lisa.
Nice to meet you as well.
Lisa.
Yeah, I'm a terrible driver, so I have no, I can't say anything. I drive in the right lane. I drive about 4 miles an hour. I'm very comfortable there.
Oh, I drive.
Oh, you're
in the
like a
left
grandma
lane, and
driver.
She's a grandma driver. I'm sort of a
Totally
hot
grandma
rod.
driver.
God, Lisa, I really liked your book, but I cannot respect a grandma driver in Los Angeles.
If you saw the way Dorothy and I were driving in here today, we were on the left lane, the right lane. Anyway, welcome to the show, Lisa. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Lisa Goich is sort of everything and everywhere. She is and has been the project manager for jazz and comedy with the Grammy Awards. She's been
Is she the one that always gets you those good tickets?
Sort of.
Okay.
And then she's been a...
I just want to know who to suck up to.
No, I have to suck up first. So she's been a social network manager. She's worked for the Playboy Jazz Festival. She's been a sidekick on the radio. She's been a comedian. I didn't know that about you, Lisa, that you were a comedian.
Yeah, 15 years I was a comedian. That's what brought me out to Los Angeles originally. So,
Now, are you one of those unhappy, tortured comedians? Because you sound fairly happy.
Yeah, she's pretty normal.
no, I think that was my problem. I was fairly happy.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't quite tortured enough. But it was fun. It was a fun gig for a while.
Now, she wrote a book that is not yet out, and she's nice enough to come on with us and give us a little preview called...
And not at all funny, but very meaningful to me.
Yeah, there are some...
It is meaningful. There are funny parts.
I was just going to say there are some funny parts of the book. It's called 14 Days, a Memoir. And Lisa, I'm going to let you describe it. I found it so touching.
Okay, the book is called 14 Days, and it's basically a book about my mom's final 14 days. I know, how could that be funny? But trust me, there are funny parts in it. My mom was a very funny lady.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is that when I went home to visit my parents for a long weekend in December, right before Christmas, and it was just supposed to be like a 3-day weekend. And while I was there, my mom told me that she was going to discontinue her kidney dialysis, which she had just started.
Basically Was she basically telling you that she didn't want to live anymore?
Yeah, basically that was her decision. But at the moment she told me, I wasn't sure what that meant because she had just started it. So I thought, oh, well, you know, if you just start something like that and you quit it, what does that mean? You're going to live 2 years? You know, I wasn't sure what it meant.
Yeah, more like 2
And-
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, and the doctor said, well, basically, if she stops this dialysis, she'll live about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, whoa, I was just coming in for a long weekend. We did not expect this. So what we did from that point, we just, she was in the hospital. We took her from the hospital. She was only in the hospital because she fell at her dialysis appointment, and she couldn't walk. She hurt her back or something, and she was unable to walk. So I think that was kind of the last straw for her, and she decided she was going to come home. So the book basically takes place at home for those 14 days. We put her in a bed in the middle of the living room and had a 14-day party for her. And people came over, we told stories, we laughed, we ate, we cooked, we watched TV, we let her watch her soap operas, and it was just really a great celebration of life.
Although I know
Yeah.
not everybody in the family was so on board, at least in the beginning.
Yeah, no, my brother was not on board at all, and it caused a lot of surprise.
Is that her brother? Yeah,
You
well,
know,
Lisa,
which is
Lisa,
sort
hang
of
on.
why.
Yeah, we lost her for a
You
second.
need-
We got you back. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, yeah, my brother wasn't on board right away, nor his entire side of the family, which I learned was really common in these sorts of things. And I never thought that our family would be one of those families that would splinter with decision, but it apparently happens when people die.
I love that part of the book where you were told your family was dysfunctional because you guys couldn't agree, and you were like, "What?
I know. I was like, wait, whoa, dysfunctional.
We're not that
Oh.
dysfunctional."
You know, what I find interesting is that you listen to her because my dad is on dialysis. And Lisa, I think you probably know, I lost my mom about 2 years ago, and it was
Yeah.
really difficult for me. It was a bit of a surprise, even though she was older. We didn't expect it. And my dad has been sick ever since, and he's on dialysis. And just last weekend, he said, "Please take me off this." I said, "Oh, no, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about." So I think to
Oh my
myself-
God, he said that.
Oh, he says that quite often. And then I think, does he mean it? Does he not? And I tend to not let the conversation continue because I almost don't want to. Now, I brought it up to his doctor, and the doctor said,
Right.
well, for goodness sakes, you can't take him off. That's you can't do that. That's something that's immoral. I said, immoral? This is what he's asking me. And he said, well, as a doctor, I can't do it. So that's what
Oh, that's not immoral.
that's what of course it's not. That's what that's what she wants. It seemed to be that's what he wanted, but then I ignored him. I just said, "Oh, we'll talk about it another time." So I think it's great that you listened to her and you processed that, and however you all worked it out, that you did it.
Yeah, and it was good that all the doctors were on board too as well, because I think that's important with patients. It's no different than if a patient chooses to forego chemotherapy,
Right.
you know, which
Exactly.
many people do.
Exactly.
It doesn't make people feel good, and it comes down to a quality of life decision. And with my mom, if you saw my mom physically, which I sort of describe in the book, you know, I hadn't seen her in a few months. So when I came home and saw her, I was shocked. I mean, she was just a little tiny pea. She was about 60 pounds. She had this giant black and blue, and I mean black, bruise on her chest from the dialysis port. Her chest was just skin and bones. She had these big dark circles under her eyes. I mean, when I looked at her, I thought, okay, it's time.
Yeah.
You know, there was no question to me. I thought I wouldn't want to live like that, and I didn't want to see her live like that.
And
So
it's
I agreed to the decision,
it's so
but
valuable.
not everybody did.
It's so valuable that I think this book for you was cathartic, but also it seems like you really want to help people that have been in this situation as well.
Well, you are in that situation right now.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, definitely. I want people to know that it's okay. You know, I think if a person is ready to roll, they're ready to roll. And
I like the way you put it. Ready to roll.
Ready to roll. Millie was ready to roll. My mom was totally ready to go. You know, there's tomorrow is it's called what is it? There's like holidays for everything.
Yes,
Right.
you said-
I missed National Sibling Day, and now I have sister guilt.
now you have no. What is it?
how
I'll look
funny.
it up. What is tomorrow? You've sent it to me a few
it's
times.
Like It's National.
Hang on.
Oh,
We're both like
yeah.
feverishly looking. Hang on a second.
It's basically like National Get Yourself in Order Day.
Get your shit together day.
Get your
right.
shit together
Get
day.
your shit together
Okay.
day. Okay,
All
hang
right.
on a minute.
Yeah, it's National Get Your Shit Together Day.
Okay. What?
I got it. It's National Healthcare Decisions Day. That's tomorrow, April
Yes,
16th.
Well, that
Yeah,
sounds
National
just like
Healthcare
get your
Decisions Day.
shit together.
Get your shit
Yeah, I
together
just
day.
They're basically the same thing, right?
So what does that
and-
mean?
Well, they made the date to fall after tax day because it's kind of a day for people to get their financial decisions in order, their wills in order. I know my husband and I don't have a will, and after my mom died, and I saw how absolutely organized she was, the first thing I said was, "Oh, we have to get a will." So that if anything happens to us, nobody has to make all of these decisions after we die. But that was 2011, it's 2015, and we still haven't done it.
Ooh.
So, to get all of those things in order, your life directives.
Geez, you have to do all that tomorrow?
Yeah,
you
you got
have
to
a
do
will?
it tomorrow.
You know
You
what?
can start tomorrow.
We
How about
we
that?
have stuff like that because my husband is anal. I would never do that. But also,
You have to. If you have a kid,
my
you
mom,
have to.
who's been here many times, my mom saw what her mother went through, and so she has kind of spelled out what she would like. But you know what? I wonder when it comes down to the moment if I would be able to, I don't know, to give her what she
It's
wishes
very
for.
difficult. Yeah, it's really a hard decision, but I think, and I think it depends on the person, and I think it depends on their frame of mind. In my mom's case, I guess my brother and I both interpreted her frame of mind differently, but I looked at her and I clearly saw ready to roll. My brother looked at her and I think through his own heart was seeing, I can't let her go yet.
And you're right.
know?
That seems like it was through his own heart. Although she was cognizant. She seemed to know she really seemed to know what she wanted. I mean, didn't she say that didn't she direct you as to who she wanted to read her eulogy? I thought that was really funny. Did you read
yeah.
about that?
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that.
She wanted Mitch Albom to write her eulogy.
I love that.
And Mitch, I
As
worked
does
with Mitch.
everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. That's exactly what I say in the book too. I was like, "Oh, mother, come on! I'm not going to ask him because I worked with him for years, and I'm like, I can't ask him." And she's like, "You can ask him. He likes me." And I'm like, I can't, mother, I can't. So that actually becomes the forward in my book. Is the eulogy that Mitch ultimately wrote for my mother. So
God, you would do anything, right? We would do anything for our mothers, obviously.
Tell
I
us-
know, and I was like, and I was very reluctant to call him and ask.
But you did.
But he
Yeah.
wholeheartedly, he actually sort of offered it up before I even asked him.
Oh, even better.
Which made it a little bit easier. So, she was ready. She made my dad pay the summer taxes, which weren't due until, she died on Christmas Eve. They weren't even due till June. She was everything. Everything was in order. And we were like, okay, she knows what she's doing. She's clearly of sound mind. So, I think sometimes you just have to honor people in that decision, even though it's so hard for those of us left behind
Well,
to make that decision.
Your mother's doctor obviously agreed. Deborah's father's doctor does not agree.
No, and if you saw him, he's very, very thin and frail. In fact, I'd love for him to come and watch the show. He would get such a kick out of it.
I've brought my mom in.
Yeah, he's pretty frail. If I can get him one day, I will do that because he would enjoy
You
it.
should have Parents' Day.
Oh, great idea. Oh, well, I will have
Everybody
to. Okay,
bring
we
your
cannot be
parents to
late
work day.
because I will have to plan the whole morning just to get him here. I mean, it will take 4 hours. I'll get here at 4 in the afternoon at the rate we're going.
And by the end of it, they'll be dating.
Exactly.
But your dad, are you ready to have that conversation for real with him? Because I think you did what I might do, like distraction. Look over here.
He would say, "Take me off," and therefore I have chosen to ignore it. And I think my dad is probably, my mom wore the pants in the family. But again, she died unexpectedly. He is probably just waiting for me and my sister to sort of give him the directive. And since he said once or twice, "Take me off," and I said, no, then he's probably thinking, "Oh, all right, I'll just bring it up another time." Do you know what I mean? Because we tell him what to do. But
Right.
maybe
and
that's not
sometimes they don't
fair.
want to disappoint you.
Exactly.
They don't want to disappoint you. And so they probably think, oh, like I know my mom went through that. I know she didn't want to disappoint my brother. And so she would tend to just shut down and not say anything. So.
Yeah. What were some of
May-
your... Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
What were some of your funniest moments over those 2 weeks? Some of your more heartbreaking moments? And did you ever question yourself throughout this time?
Well, actually, some of the funniest moments were my mom. This is in the book as well, but my mom, we were sitting in the living room, my niece and I and my mom were sitting in the living room, and I looked next door. The houses in my parents' neighborhood are very close to each other. And I looked next door, and I see this curtain close really kitty at our neighbor's house. And I said, the woman's name who I've renamed in the book, Kitty Finazzo, to protect the innocent. Kitty Finazzo I see her curtain close, and I said,
Great
Kitty
name.
Finazzo, I think, was just trying to stare at us through the window. And my mom's like, Kitty Finazzo can go to hell.
It's like Mrs.
And I'm like-
Kravitz.
That's what neighbors
Yes,
do, right?
I'm like, why are you mad at Kitty? You guys are like friends. She's on my shit list. That's what my mom tells me. I'm telling you, this is like 7 days in, okay, to the 14 days. My mom's like, she's on my shit list. Kitty wouldn't let my parents park in her garage. Long story. I'm not going to even tell the entire story. Kitty wouldn't let my parents park
Nasty
in their
Kitty.
garage. And therefore, Kitty ended up on my mom's shit list. To the day she died, my mom would not talk to her. And I was like, even at the end of your life,
So they didn't
really hold
talk.
true to these things. Like, she would not let go like a bulldog.
I love this woman. I love your mom.
But I now feel badly for Kitty, the
For
nosy
Kitty.
neighbor.
Okay, but what did Kitty go to the funeral? Oh, we lost you again. Hang on, Lisa, wherever you are.
Okay.
Okay, there, we got you back. Did
Okay,
Kitty go to the
as
funeral?
Oh, yeah, well, listen to this. So it's about day 11. We are, getting further into this, and I asked my mom, I said, come on, you're getting toward the end here. Let's call Kitty.
Oh.
I know she probably wants to see you. Let's give her a call. No, absolutely not. Cut to the end comes. We're at the funeral home. I walk in. We're the first ones there, the family. And all the flowers are out. I am looking at all the little cards on the flower. This gigantic flower display right next to my mom's casket.
Oh.
I look at the card, Kitty Finazzo. Sent the
Oh.
flowers to my mom. I looked at my mom, and I looked at her, and I pointed to her. I go, see, look how nice Kitty was to you. You shouldn't have done this. 2 minutes later, who's the first person to walk through the door before aunts, before uncles, before anybody? Kitty Finazzo.
Oh.
I hope you
And
hugged
I'm-
her.
Yeah.
I looked down at my mom. Well, I looked down at my mom, and I go, be nice. That's what I said to her.
Kitty
And,
must have felt awful that she wouldn't give up her parking spot, though. This is what I'm thinking. She felt terribly
I know.
guilty.
She doesn't even know. Kitty's oblivious, by the way.
Oh.
Oh,
Kitty
good.
doesn't even know that.
That's better.
No, she has no idea that she's on the shit list. So Kitty comes into the funeral home, and she's like, oh, your mother, I loved your mother so much. And I'm, oh, Kitty, she loves you so much, too. Loved it. Thought it was past
Okay,
tense. It's true.
Kitty-
I'm not lying.
Kitty's going to read the book, and
Good
even though
Kitty.
her name is not Kitty, Kitty's going to figure it out.
Oh, that's right. Will she read the book? Don't give her a copy. Just like, hopefully
I
she
know.
won't see
I'm
it in
hoping
stores.
Kitty, well, my dad ended up moving, so I'm hoping that for whatever reason she doesn't see the book.
I love the name. It must have some sort of meaning that you named her Kitty.
Well, her name is very close to that name.
Oh, is
so
it?
it's a very close name.
Cat. Her name's
I have-
Cat.
Oh, that's a smart
Yes,
one.
Cat.
I was
Not,
gonna
not
say-
that, but it's an Italian name. It's a really good Italian name.
Hey, while Deborah
But-
obsesses about the name, I want to go back to a question that she asked that I don't know if we let you answer. Did you have moments of questioning the decision?
Oh, yeah, I did. There was a time during those weeks, and this is also in the book, where my mom got a massage. A friend of mine came over and gave my mom a massage. My mom had never had a massage in her whole life. She was
Wow.
always like, I don't like people touching me. I don't want anybody to
Love
touch
this
me.
lady.
Yeah. So she was like, she never wanted that. She gets this, my friend Cecilia came over and gave her an hour-and-a-half massage. My mom was in heaven.
Oh.
Now we're at about day 12, day 11. It's toward the end. And Cecilia's wrapping up and all done. And my mom asked Cecilia, she said, Cecilia, do you have a card? And Cecilia said, yeah. Oh, this part's going to make me cry. And Cecilia gave my mom a card, and my mom said, Lisa, put this up on the she had like this little buffet thing in the kitchen. She said, put this up on the buffet so I can call Cecilia after you leave to have her come give me more massages.
Oh. So was she just she just wasn't aware, and she wasn't, or
she wasn't aware. And then,
Yeah.
so for that split moment, I thought, oh my gosh, why are we doing this?
Right. Maybe she wasn't of sound mind. What did we do? Right. I get it.
Right. She's ready. I'm like, does she think she's living longer? You know, does she not understand what's happening to her? Did we make the wrong decision? Is she really not that sick? You know, you start going through all these thoughts. And then I thought twice about it. I go, do I say something to her or just say, okay, I'll take the card and put it over there, and you can call her in a couple weeks, you know?
Oh, my God.
You know, which is what I ended up going with. I didn't want to, you know, make her feel, you know, do you understand what you're doing? You know, because she had been asked that question many times during the week and from other people in the family. Do you know what you're doing? Do you understand what you're doing? Why are you doing this to us? And she would get so angry every single time somebody would ask her. So, but at that point I did question the decision because she seemed very happy and aware. And then you think to yourself, geez, was this the wrong decision to make? You know, until the following day when she was so bad, then I thought, oh,
It was the right
done.
decision. Lisa, why did you write the book? Why did you want to get this out there? It's a beautiful, beautiful, touching story.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I'm glad you did.
Me too.
Oh, thank you. Well, I started, it's funny, I started Facebooking about it, you know, while I was just going through it. I was just, you know, putting little excerpts up on Facebook to my friends because some people were, you know, people were asking about my mom. So I would just like write little sections. And it was friends of mine who said, you need to turn these sections into a book because they were saying that the little excerpts were so beautiful. And I didn't think about it, you know, for a while I was like, okay, whatever. And I think it was about a year went by until I sort of took all those sections and put them together and went, hey, you know what? I think I could turn this into something, and turned it into something that hopefully will help other people going through this very same transition.
And that your mom would love.
Love.
Yeah,
And it's
and
probably reading right now, right?
Oh, yeah. My mom would love this. I mean, she would be so happy because I think, too, she would want to tell people you don't have to be so sad when you're going through it. I mean, trust me, we had some horribly sad moments. I mean, there was one point where I just completely lost it during the 14 weeks. It wasn't all fun and games. But, you know, I think for the most part, if you there's a way to do it right, if you have that opportunity. And all I kept thinking was when it was all done was, oh my gosh, this is how I want to go. I want to be in my bed like a queen, and I want everybody to come over, and I want to just have a 2-week party, you know, where everybody just tells me they love me and we laugh. And, you know, my mom was laughing her butt off during those weeks with her friends that would come over, and it was just really wonderful, you know. And I want people to sort of learn from that, you know, you can make that transition a little bit of a celebration, and it doesn't have to be, you know, wailing over their bed, which is what I thought I would be, by the way. That's what I thought I would be. I thought I'd be one of those people that are, oh, you know, and I was surprised at myself that I handled it quite differently.
This is going to be, this will be so helpful to so many people out there.
And when does it come out?
November 10th. But it's available for pre-sale now on Amazon. So people can pre-order on Amazon if they want. And it's called 14 Days.
A memoir.
You can just,
right.
yeah, it's called 14 Days, a memoir. But the full title is 14 Days, a Mother, a Daughter, a 2-Week Goodbye.
Beautiful story. Lisa, thank you so much. And, you know, one of these days
we're
when
all
we
near
finally,
tears, Lisa.
Yeah, we really are. When we finally go to that lunch, Lisa, I'll tell you what my whole situation was when my mom went. It was different. But I just really
I'd love
admire.
to hear.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that. But I really admire what you've done. I think this will help so many people who are struggling on how to handle the end of one's life. I really do. With such beauty and grace, you did that. I applaud you. Thanks
It's
a lot.
something Deborah and I talk about all the time, and a
Yeah.
lot of people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So thank you,
I think
Lisa.
It's hard to
healthy.
talk about. It's a very difficult thing to talk about, you know, for your parents, for yourselves, whatever. Nobody wants to talk about death, but it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
So I think if you can talk about it and can read about it, you know, there's things to learn. So
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa. I'll be in touch soon. And thanks for coming on. Again, that's 14 Days, a memoir. Thank you.
thank you, ladies.
Bye, Lisa. Talk to you soon, hon. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Wow, she's pretty special, isn't
Oh my
she?
God. Okay.
She's really amazing. Well, when I read about this, because I read her posts, I found it very interesting, and that's when I called her. I said, "Would you want to come on, even though it's not out yet?" She said, "Yeah, sure." So I'm glad we had her on because I do think these are such really difficult things that people face. They don't know what to do. They feel guilty, and she really
And
handled
as we
it
were
with
saying,
a lot of
nobody wants to
grace.
talk about it. You're one of the few people I talk to about this because no one wants to talk about
Well, it's
it.
because I have to. I don't know what else to do. It's on my mind sometimes, and I think it's healthy. Especially to talk about it with women who are going through similar issues. So, okay, well that's a little
Okay,
tough.
speaking of women, I think we're changing the topic
Over
though,
to a different kind of woman.
dramatically.
A different kind of woman. And who do we have on? Hang on one second. Where are we going? I was going to actually break to a little, go to a quick break of music. But
All right, Dan's not
is our
on
guest
the phone.
is Dan on the phone?
I have him on the line.
Well, then don't make Dan listen to music.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize Dan was on the phone. Dan,
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Dan likes music.
I know Dan is a cool guy. He
Dan-
loves music. Dan, thank you for
Now
being
Dan
with
is our
us.
DJ. Dan, what do you want to hear?
Dan, thank you for being with us. This is Dan Schnurr. He is with USC, and he is, hang on, I have to put my glasses on. He is the director of the UNRU. Is that how you say that? The UNRU?
Unruh, that's right.
Okay, of the Jesse Unruh Institute of Politics at the University of Southern California, among other things. You have quite a resume. You're pretty amazing. So thanks for coming on, Dan.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I was flattered to be asked.
Yeah. no,
And Dan,
thank
we want to talk to you about Hillary Clinton and so many things, but really, let's just be upfront. Deborah booked you because we're both trying to get our kids in USC.
That's such
So
a-
I just want you to know this right now going in.
No, we know Dan, and we're not applying, so don't worry about it. As for Dorothy, I can't claim anything else.
Oh, wait, Dan, I would like to know you because my son is applying.
Well, I wish I had that kind of power, but all
Yes.
kidding aside, I'm happy to talk to him.
Thank you.
Oh, Dorothy, how shameless. But anyway, let's talk
You
about it.
you booked him.
I'm
I'm just
I
being
can respect
upfront.
shameless. That's not a problem.
No, joking. Anyway, thanks for being on. But yeah, a whole different kind of woman here, Hillary. What are your thoughts on Hillary and what's?
Well, she's having her second, I think, public event right now, and I heard she was like 45 minutes late to it, which we should
Her
not
too?
speak because we were late today. But
We relate to our own show.
that is
Dan,
so
uh,
Clinton-esque, Dan. That is the hallmark of the Clintons, right? Running late.
But what was her excuse? Was she on the 101?
She was in the Scooby
Exactly.
van.
Well, and that's the real challenge for Hillary Clinton. In 2008, the rap against her, and you guys all know this, is that she was the imperial candidate, and that she wasn't willing to get directly engaged with the voters to the degree that they prefer and the way they demand, and the kind of treatment that they get from candidates like Obama and like Bill Clinton. And so the build-up to this campaign, most notable in the video they released on Sunday and in her car trip from New York to Iowa earlier in the week, is all about showing people that Hillary does understand their daily lives and appreciates them. They're not going to be able to sell her as someone who's just like everybody else because she's not, but the first couple of days were designed to try to get voters to understand she does understand your lives, she does share your concerns, and in the words of her husband's campaign all those years ago, she feels your pain.
Hey, she went to Chipotle, so my son will automatically vote for her because he'll be able
They'll
to
be
vote this
18,
time.
I know.
But when Mitt Romney tried this, it seemed inauthentic, and he's a gazillionaire. But Hillary's not a pauper either, even though she said they were when they got out of the White House. Is this going to feel authentic enough?
Well, if she tries to convince people that she's just like them, I don't think she's going to be able to pull that off because for the last 25 years, she's been living a much different life than most voters. If she can, as she did yesterday, come across as someone who's genuinely concerned about the lives of people who lead more normal lives than she does, then that's something I think that's attainable for her. I think it's worth giving her some credit. She's not a bad candidate. She's just not as good a candidate as her husband in that regard, and so she tends to suffer by the comparison. But the kind of event you saw yesterday is the way they're going to try to establish her. Showing up late to today's, for whatever the reason, isn't a great follow-up.
When are these political types, though, going to understand that changing who one is just doesn't work? Like, it didn't work for Romney, and it doesn't work for her. She just needs to go out and be who she is. She's intense. She feels strongly about the issue she's passionate about. And
She's
that's
got Bill
who
to do the
she
warm and
is.
fuzzy stuff.
Bill is super warm and fuzzy. Leave it up to him. Leave it up to the first man. But for her to even pretend to do that, I think doesn't work. I would love to see a woman in the White House. I'm not sure if she's the right woman. I go down the center. I think you do as well, right? Am I?
I don't
clear
know.
on
I
that?
don't know. He worked for McCain.
He did. You
I,
did.
back when I was a Republican, I used to say I'm a Republican, but I'm on the 48-yard line. But I've been an independent for a lot of years, and yeah, I stake out the center, no question about
Hey,
it.
you know,
But I'd say this about Hillary. There's a great book, and I think you and your listeners would really, really enjoy it. It's a book about the 2008 campaign called Notes from the Cracked Ceiling. And Ann
write that down.
Kornbluth, who's a reporter,
Yes,
was a reporter, now an
terrific.
editor at the Washington Post, who you ought to have on the show, did what I thought was the best analysis of Hillary's '08 campaign and what went wrong. Part of it was this sort of imperial candidacy that we're talking about. But second, they basically took the votes of female voters for granted. They assumed that because she was a woman, women were going to vote for her no matter what. And so they really didn't emphasize the historic nature of her candidacy. And a lot of younger female voters in particular decided that electing an African American was more meaningful to them than electing the first female president.
well, and one of my favorite books, Game Change, covers
Great book.
some of the same territory.
Fantastic book.
And I believe it was in that book where we were led to believe that Hillary was pissed at Oprah because she thought Oprah would go
thought
just
Oprah
for
would
the
back
chick
her.
factor.
Well, next time I talk to Hillary and Oprah, I'll ask them about that.
Would you please? Did you read the article written by Myra Adams?
I don't think so. What was it?
She's a conservative. She just wrote something. She was writing something for the HuffPost, among others. And she's a real conservative columnist. And she just wrote something that this will be Hillary's time. She gave a barrage of reasons for that. But I'm just not sure I agree with her. I think age actually has something to do with it. Like if you look at Mark or Rubio, I think he's younger and just more energetic.
Well, he would be one of the youngest presidents ever. Not that I think he's going to be president, but
Right. But I also think we'll see what else the Democrats can come up with and the Republicans, because I wonder if age is going to have a factor in this election.
Well, and I think you make a good point mentioning Rubio. I mean, he himself has an uphill fight, but I think the Democratic Party would benefit from having their own Marco Rubio in the race, and their own Rand Paul in the race, and a broader and wider field of candidates, so Hillary would have a chance to address these kind of concerns, these kind of contrasts.
You think she'll get the nomination, though, Hillary?
It's
She will.
it's hard to imagine a situation
Yeah, I
in
know.
which she doesn't. She'll almost certainly be the nominee. And while I'm not in a position to predict the other side, the most likely outcome, according to the polls, of course, is yet another Bush and Clinton campaign, which, as you guys
Hysterical.
know, is just a precursor to the 2036 presidential campaign between Chelsea Clinton and George P. Bush. We're going to be stuck with this for a while.
And he's a cutie, I have to say.
no,
George,
I'm going with Chelsea on that
George
one.
P. is a cutie. I like Chelsea, though, and she's smart.
Hey, we mentioned that you work for John McCain. John McCain and Hillary have had such an interesting love-hate relationship. I mean, almost like they are married.
Well, I worked for Senator McCain back in his 2000 presidential campaign when he ran primarily on a platform of campaign finance reform. I haven't worked with him since, but I've watched and read just as you have. And it seems that particularly on international trips, they've really established a personal bond. In fact,
Yeah, they're drinking buddies, right?
They went out drinking pretty heavily a couple of times. Maybe that's why she was wearing the sunglasses in that in that famous photograph. But McCain has said that he believes that Clinton is better prepared on issues relating to foreign policy and national security, and closer to him on those issues than Obama. That's obviously a compliment from John McCain. One more reason why a more contested Democratic primary might not be a bad thing, so that Democratic primary voters get to hear a broader range of issue discussion than they're going to.
So I think she'd be smart to head toward the middle, as Bill did during his second term. But it's hard to do that in the primaries unless no one's challenging you, which could be the case.
Well, that's right. And although they don't want to get the Democratic Party base angry with them, there are a lot of progressive Democrats who feel like she is too moderate, and they've been encouraging Elizabeth Warren to run, it looks like unsuccessfully. And they appear to be giving a long look to some of the other sort of second-tier candidates who lean further left. So Clinton isn't going to ignore those candidates. And you heard traces of Elizabeth Warren's stump speech in Clinton's announcement over the
Absolutely.
weekend. But your instinct is exactly right. She's moving to the center because, like Bill Clinton, she is more of a centrist. And that's going to frustrate some people in the Democratic Party until they try to decide whether they'd rather have her or the Republican nominee as president.
I feel like there are some Democrats that sort of think she's a Republican, but I mean, the sort of old-fashioned Republican from 2000.
or even more old-fashioned than that. Yeah, not a lot of Rockefeller Republicans around these days. No question about that.
Who do you think?
But Hillary, in particular, watch the group of voters you should watch her with are younger female voters. This book I mentioned, Notes from the Cracked Ceiling, opens with a conversation between Geraldine Ferraro and her adult daughter, in which Ferraro's daughter explains to her that she, the daughter, is going to vote for Barack Obama rather than Hillary Clinton in the primary. And Ferraro's response, as you might guess, is, are you effing kidding me? Don't you know who I am and what I've done? And for an entire generation of young women, according to Kobylt, the author, they just did not see the historical import in the election of a female president to the same degree that they saw the breakthrough that Obama represented. And her advisors, primarily male advisors, encouraged Hillary all through the campaign, be tough, be strong, show people how confrontational you'll be on foreign policy and national security issues. And ironically, when she let down that guard a little bit and showed a little bit more humanity, those tended to be the best moments in her campaign.
Right, when she cried, that changed, that turned her numbers
because
around.
Because it was more her. That's what I say. You have to be more genuine to who you are as opposed to what they want you to be. I just don't think that resonates at all. I think people see it. So, hello?
No, I think that's exactly right. As most of your listeners know, and during the New Hampshire primary in 2008, she teared up a little bit when asked about the challenges of running as a woman, and her advisors were just panicked that this was going to be the end of her campaign.
That was
it took a day or two for them to realize that, in fact, it was a great thing, not a bad thing at all.
It turned everything around. You realize before Dan was waiting for you to actually ask him something when he paused.
I know, but
okay.
Well, then here's my next question. Who do you think would be? That's okay. We just roll by the seat of our pants or dress here or whatever. So who do you think would be a running mate, a good running mate for her?
Elizabeth Warren?
Yeah, maybe. Wouldn't that be great? A double female ticket?
I wouldn't put a lot of money on it.
No, I'm not either.
I think Elizabeth Warren's decided that her best job is to be sort of Hillary Clinton's Jiminy Cricket. She's going to be the one who whispers in Hillary's ear and reminds her not to stray too far from the base of the party. Mm-hmm. The person they're talking about a lot is Julian Castro. He's currently in the Clinton cabinet. He would represent the first Latino on either major party ticket. But one of the real challenges the Democrats have, and you're seeing this in the presidential field as well, is it's not a particularly deep bench. And so her running mate probably is going to be someone who serves a particular geographic need or demographic need, rather than somebody that people across the country are going to say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that person's on the ticket.
Well, she doesn't really need balancing out, I mean, she's got the foreign policy. Normally when you have someone running, they're so grossly deficient in some area, but I don't think she really is.
Yeah, I will bet you, and this comes all the way back to where we started the conversation, I will bet you that Hillary Clinton's running mate ends up being somebody who is just as or almost as talented as Bill Clinton. It's a kind of personal, hand-to-hand, face-to-face engagement that we were talking about several minutes ago.
Right, to soften
someone
her.
who can wade into crowds like that, and rather than filling like an issue need like you were saying, or a demographic need like I was talking about, someone who can relate to voters in a way to help build those kind of emotional ties in a way that she's not as good at.
And it can't be Bill, right? We've established that.
I think there's a rule against it, but I'll check on that.
Well,
actually, you're not allowed to have a vice presidential running mate from the same state as the presidential candidate. I don't know if it says anything about spouses. So if Bill moves back to Arkansas, then maybe he can do it.
I mean, there's no doubt. It's so personality driven with so many different voters. I mean, look what's going on now that she's got this whole campaign on social media. I think that's great. But I think to get someone to soften her up, she needs that.
Well, you're saying, like somebody who everyone wants to have a beer with. You don't want to have a beer with Hillary. Maybe a glass of wine, but not a beer.
Neither.
Yeah, but the whole have a beer with thing, I'll offer you a quick thought on that. I don't think most voters, at least not many smart voters, think literally about who they want to sit around and have a drink with at the end of the day. I think what that stands for, though, for voters is trust.
Isn't that why we got George Bush? Wait a minute.
He doesn't drink, so that's probably not it. But I think what most voters do say, not is who do I want to have a drink with, but rather who do I trust? I don't know what every issue is that's going to come up in the next 4 years. I don't know the answers to all of these really complicated things. I need somebody who I trust, who I think is going to make the right decision, who understands my life. And that was the great gift of Bill Clinton. He said, look, I understand what you're going through, and you can trust me to make the right decision. Hillary can say the second half of that sentence. The challenge for her is convincing people that she does understand the challenges they're going through on a day-to-day basis. That's why you got the video and the car trip and the kind of campaigning that you've been seeing this week.
Well, she's certainly a hard worker. She's out there and she's trying to really understand the issues. I think one of her great obstacles is going to be they're going to really look what happened with this whole email situation. They're really going to try and paint her out to be not credible. I think that's what's going to be one of her main issues, don't you?
And I think you just nailed it. In head-to-head matchups, she's well ahead of any of the Republican candidates. The one Achilles heel that she has to address is most voters, big majorities of voters, even a lot who are voting for her, don't trust her. Because no one's going to vote for or against her because of this email mess. But it does signify sort of a suspicion that a lot of swing voters have about the Clintons. And she has to find a way to be able to say, look, not only do I know what I'm talking about, but you can trust me to do the right thing.
And who knows what the Republicans have up their sleeve about that, because they're just going to be coming after her. Because
it's hard to imagine there are more Clinton scandals, but I'm sure there are.
I've heard that statement a lot of times over the years, and I've never heard it proved right.
And there have always been more. What do you think about the Saturday Night Live effect? I mean, it certainly didn't help Sarah Palin.
Boy, it sure didn't. You know what? A smart politician can use that to their benefit. They can make fun of themselves. I don't think that Marco Rubio is going to be president, but when they mocked him, you
about
guys may
the water,
remember when he gave with the water bottle, during the middle of his State of the Union response, they ended up selling water bottles on his website. Yeah. So they made fun of him, or he made fun of himself before other people could make fun of him. And I think the really talented politicians are those who will take the shots at themselves and be self-deprecating. So when Saturday Night Live or The Daily Show or someone else piles on, you're already showing a good sense of humor about it.
I think most people would say to Hillary, go buy a sense of humor, but people who know her say she's funny. She just doesn't really show that.
But that's what people need to see more. They want to know that she's relatable. Maybe they don't live the way she does, but they want to know she's relatable.
But one of you talked earlier about a candidate having to be who he or she really is. And every 4 years you hear about somebody, if you only knew them, that they're such a warm, funny person.
Sure.
You heard that about Romney. You heard that about Gore. Think about all the people you've heard that about. And I think the people who end up seeming most uncomfortable on the public stage are those who are trying to be something other than they're not. I'll tell you a quick story about Al Gore that I heard from Joe Klein, the Time magazine columnist.
Oh, I love him. Mr. Anonymous.
Love him.
He wrote a phenomenal book some years back called Politics Lost, How Political Consultants Are Ruining American Politics. And as a former and recovering political consultant, I will tell you it's a phenomenal book. So he starts out, he's talking to a bunch of Gore's campaign advisors a few years after the 2000 campaign. And this is at the point where you guys know he's out going around the world talking about global warming and climate change. And Klein says to them, he said, he's so passionate about this. He's so excited. He's so motivating. Why didn't he talk about this during the campaign? And his advisors said, well, we didn't let him. We knew if he talked about global warming, it could hurt him in Pennsylvania, it could hurt him in Ohio, it could hurt him in West Virginia. So we didn't let him talk about it. And now all I've been hearing for years from my Democratic friends and from my younger brother who works for Gore is what a fun, funny guy he is. And I hear this story and I think to myself, you know what? No wonder he comes across as stiff. The people around him told him he wasn't allowed to talk about the single thing in the world that was most important to him. Mm-hmm. No wonder he seems uncomfortable.
I don't know, but then you have someone like Chris Christie. I don't think he ever listens to what
too
his
comfortable.
advisors tell him. They just say, you got to keep it in. And he's like, and he just goes up there, the microphone's on, and off he goes.
That might be a little bit too much on the other side.
A little too much, right? I mean,
when you're talking, and I'll just talk in a male construct for a moment, I think voters look for fathers, not uncles. And think about it. Chris Christie is not someone you want to be your dad. He's the fun uncle to show up for a weekend for a holiday or something. But after a couple of days, you get sort of tired of the fun uncle, right? I think that's what is going to happen with Chris Christie.
I don't know. Again, I go back to that's how we got George Bush, the fun uncle.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for coming on. This has been
Guys,
really
thank you so much
fun.
for
A
having
lot
me.
of
Let me know if I
fun.
can ever help down the line.
Oh,
my
I'm
gosh,
sure you will be. Are you
please.
kidding? We'll be back with you, and thanks a lot.
We're
And,
obsessed with politics. Thank you so much,
Next
Dan.
time we have you on, I want to know how the students are interpreting all this. So thank
Look,
you. Oh, go ahead.
They're phenomenal, and we'll talk about it, and Dorothy's son is going to love it here.
God, I love this
well,
man.
If Jordan changes his mind, I'll be calling you too.
Best
so.
guest we ever booked.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Dan. I think we got to go.
That was a fun hour.
That was quick.
Yeah, we done?
Well, considering we started 20 minutes late, I mean, that went pretty well.
Were,
that
we,
was
were we 20 minutes late?
No, just a few minutes, Dorothy. I'm just messing with
44
you.
minutes total.
Yeah, that was great. So, anything else you want to add?
We never talked about the Stella McCartney event that we went to.
Please.
We went to
That
this
was
beautiful, fancy fundraiser, and Stella McCartney, fashion icon. And oh yeah, okay. Oh, though we have no pictures of us all together. I
Wait
don't
a
know
minute,
where
you
were.
don't have my picture? No.
Where were you when we were
Okay,
taking
if she didn't
pictures?
send in my picture.
Oh
'cause
my
I
God!
actually
Okay,
came out good in that picture.
that is Stella McCartney saying to me, "Why aren't you wearing a Stella McCartney dress?"
Okay, excuse me. I had a Stella McCartney purse. Thank you very much. And she noticed. She noticed.
She
said
told
we-
me to get one of her dresses and come back and take another photo. I actually wrote an entire blog about how I was trapped into that dress by the zipper, and Stella was.
Oh, really? How? I have to go and read that because my friend of mine told
Yeah,
me.
you probably get enough of me.
What was it?
No, I don't.
What event was it?
Oh, it would be nice if we mentioned that, John. It was a heart fundraiser for VIP. And we have had the people from VIP on here before.
We should have them back.
Well, it's a pretty amazing story what they do. They basically have every child who is taken away from their family before they go into foster care. They spend a day, maybe two, with the people from VIP, and they clothe
Prepare
these
them.
children,
Yeah.
love these children. There are medical examinations. I get all emotional when we talk about this. I mean, these are, we're talking about child rape here. We're talking about some of the most horrific moments in the life of anyone, especially a child. And these are the people who care for these children before they sort of get put into the system.
And it's not just children, though. They also
Not
deal with
only
women
children, you're
who
right.
have been abused
Yeah.
and all sorts of situations. Because I talked to the doctor afterwards. I was so moved by her talk. I thought it was just
Dr.
fantastic.
Astrid Hagar, yeah.
She
is rock
she's-
star pediatrician.
She really, truly is. She's amazing. But Stella also made such an impression on me. You know, when you're the daughter of Paul McCartney, right? And she was so giving and so real and so.
And she stayed there all day, unlike most celebrities at most events.
really
Most
believed in
celebrities
it.
show up at an event, no matter what, if it's their charity, if they love it, if they're just, if their PR people just told them to go. Nobody stays all day. Stella was there all day.
And she
it was a
was
shopping
pushing her
event.
stuff.
Yeah, she was like
And-
a personal shopper.
But in a good way. She was saying, buy this because it's going to go to this. And she was helping me try on shoes. I couldn't find anything that fit right, though. But, I felt.
You didn't buy those little sneakers? They were so cute.
Those really cute ones. And then I tried on the big silver ones. Forget it. I toppled over. But she was so genuine. She was just helping everyone with all of that. But she was very real from the inside. And she was very giving.
And I love that this Brit comes to LA and is involved with a program that's run through County USC.
Well, she had a lot of her friends who really turned her onto the project, I think. And they really got her involved to understand what it's about. So it touched her heart.
And did you see Charlize Theron was there? I didn't even see her.
She was there. All sorts of
How
people
did
were
we
there.
not? She's so tall. How do we not see her? There were a ton of celebrities
She
there,
had
but
on,
I don't
like-
know how I missed a tall
She's
one.
not that tall. She had on like flip flops, probably not to.
I saw a picture of her later. I was like, oh, all right, she was
Yeah,
there.
what happened?
Okay.
And who else? Kate Capshaw was there.
Kate
and
Capshaw's-
Roseanne Arquette was there.
Kate Capshaw's daughter was wearing Stella McCartney, unlike me.
Yeah. Well, like
Her
I said,
3-year-old was wearing Stella McCartney.
I had her purse. So there you
Fine.
go.
So a beautiful afternoon.
Nice afternoon. So thank you. It was a valuable afternoon. And this week, isn't it National Volunteer Week?
It is. So go do something.
That's something else I wanted to just say. Go out and do something. It doesn't have to be with Stella McCartney. It can be with anything. I don't know. Go knock on the door to your neighbor and walk her dog or just something simple. Because it's infectious. And
Yeah.
you do that one thing, you pass it on to the next.
Right.
So,
Starts with a little kindness,
Yeah.
and you don't know where that winds up.
yeah.
Okay, now
So
I think we
anyway.
are out of time.
Okay. Thank you. It was a fun show.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Now shut up.
In the future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's UBN.